I'm Beth, and welcome back to my cozy little book corner. Today I'm going to be doing my February wrap-up, because as with February and December I did not do it, and I really want to show you guys what I read. So, without further ado, let's just get into the video. First book that I read in February was The Labyrinth by John Hiddleston. This is the novelization of the movie, and I of course get this book 5 out of 5 stars. For you who don't know, The Labyrinth, I watched it last year and it is one of my favorite movies ever. So whenever I figured out that there was a novelization of it, I needed it. This book, I think, was just as good as the movie with one exception. It didn't have the songs, which is kind of sad because I'm kind of attached to Dance Magic Dance. I really am glad that I got around to reading this. For you guys who don't know what the story's about, it is about a girl named Sarah, and one day when her parents are out, she is in charge of watching her baby stepbrother, who is just upset. He's crying and he's annoying her, and she has a favorite book called The Labyrinth, which it has a goblin king in it that if you say the magic words, he will come and take the baby away. And so she decides that one time she's just gonna fool around and say the magic words. So she says the magic words, and little does she know that her book is true, and he does come and take her little brother away. And she asks for him back, but he won't give her baby brother back. He gives her a challenge. If she can get through his labyrinth in 13 hours, get to the Goblin City in the center of it, go through the Goblin City and go to his castle and ask for the baby back, and there's like magic words she has to say there too, then he can get it back. But she only has 13 hours to do it, and no one has ever done it before. Star of the book, she's a very annoying, selfish person, and I really can't stand her. But as the book goes on, she grows and she matures, and that's basically what the book is about. It's just about her growing and maturing and figuring out that yes, her baby brother is loud and annoying and sometimes selfish, but she loves him no matter how annoying and loud and time-consuming he can be, and that he is worth it, and that she would not trade him for anything. And it's just about her learning that and just growing as a character and becoming more mature. And I really love this story. The characters, I love them. I think that it's a hilarious story, and there are so many quotes in this book that I love. This story holds a very special place in my heart. Next up, I have Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. I give this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's almost a 5-star read. I mean, I really love this book. It's one of those books that's like been hyped everywhere, and I'm very wary about hype books, thinking that most of them don't deserve all the hype they get. And that's pretty much true, but this one really deserves all the hype it got, at least in my opinion. It's about Yelena, who's the main character. I think that's how you say her name, at least. And in this world, if you kill somebody, even if it's in self-defense, then you are sentenced to death. If you commit pretty much any crime, you're sentenced to death. And it's about a main character who kills somebody, and she's sentenced to death. But the day comes when she's supposed to be killed, and the king's food taster has just died, and as to their laws, the next person who is to be executed is allowed the chance to become the king's food taster. And of course she's thinking, die now or have a possible chance of dying sometime in the future. So of course she takes the food tasting job. The guy who's in charge of keeping her there and making sure that the food taster doesn't run away feeds her a poison. That's how he keeps her there, and every day she has to come to him for the antidote or she'll die. As she's trying to figure out how to get away, she develops magical powers that could kill her because magic is illegal in the land. So she would definitely kill without even the chance of being a food taster if they figure it out. And so it's just about trying to keep that secret while she tries to figure out how to escape without dying. And it's a really good book. Next book I read inside of February was Lark Rising by Sandra Wog. I can't say that, so I'm just gonna get closer so you guys can see it. I think it's Wog. I'm not certain. I really like this book. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. It completely caught me by surprise. It's not what I was expecting. This book, I kind of picked it up on a whim. I've been doing a lot more lately, just picking books up on a whim, buying them on a whim, which is probably not good, but so far it's been good. So I probably won't stop, but I probably should, because it's going to backfire badly someday. This book is about our main character, Lark, and she lives in this town. She can see the future. She's a seer. She can kind of see into the future, and she sees into the future and sees that her town, her small little village, is about ready to be attacked by beasts. So there's these people that can call on to help them called the Riders, the 12 Riders, and they've helped them before, but they have to go to an oak tree and they have to put a flag up in it and they'll come and help them. But the journey to get there is very long and dangerous, and so they're trying to decide who's going to do it. She kind of gets volunteered, she doesn't volunteer herself, but she kind of does in a certain way, because there'd be plenty of people willing to take her place, but she says that she needs to do it because she was chosen to do it, so she goes, and she gets to the meadow and she's about ready to hang the flag up inside of the tree whenever one of the creatures that's about ready to attack her village is there. And she was told one thing when she went there: she was by no means to go into the Riders' country because they kill anyone on sight who is seen in there. But the creature chases her and she has no way to go except for into their country, and so she goes off into their country. The reason why they don't let people into their country though is because they have wild horses that they take, and like they let the horses pick their rider because they form a very special and powerful bond with the person they pick. So they don't want people to steal their horses and to domesticate them and force them to be ridden by whoever wants to ride them. Like, they'll take away the decision from the horse because it diminishes the bond and the animal isn't as strong and powerful as it used to be. And so they just think that would be wrong, so they don't want people to steal their horses. That's the reason why people ain't allowed into their place. Well, she goes there and she's put by the guy who is there guarding the border when she gets saved by a white horse. So that's very abnormal for a horse to pick somebody outside of their tribe. She ends up going with them back to their castle, their capital, and there she figures out that she is a guardian of balance and that the riders are actually keepers of balance, and they're fighting against the breeders of chaos who control the monsters who are attacking her village, and that as a guardian she is to keep one of the elements of balance, because there are 4 amulets of balance. There is amulet of life, amulet of death, amulet of light, and amulet of dark, and she is the keeper of the amulet of life, and it has been stolen, and only the keeper can bring it back, and only the guardian can touch it or anything, and so she needs to go bring it back, but just be wary because the breeders of chaos want her, because she's the only one who can destroy the amulet, and they want to destroy the amulets to bring chaos to the world. So she has to be careful, and that's the reason why they were attacking her village in the first place, is because they were trying to find her because they knew she was there somewhere, they just didn't know where. And so it's just about her discovering her new magical ability she has, finding her amulet, and just trying to restore balance. This is the first book inside of a 4-part series, and I really did like it. But I discovered after reading it that the last 2 books inside the series have not been published, and we don't know if they will ever be published or when, if they do. And so I'm kind of debating on whether to read the second book or not, because I really did like this one, but it ended on an okay note. I'm just afraid that if I read the second one, which has been published, then I will need the 3rd and 4th one to finish off the story and to come to a conclusion, but I just really don't want that to happen. I just don't think the publishers should be allowed to drop book series right in the middle of them, especially if they're good. I need conclusion. Next up, I read The Field Guide, the first book inside of the Spiderwick series by Holly Black and Tony DiCerielli. I am so glad that I read this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I think that if I read this book a while ago, I would have fallen in love with reading a lot sooner. I grew up watching the movie, and I think that this book is like the same magic and whimsicalness of the movie, only magnified by 10. It's like a little piece of my childhood. This book is about 3 Grace children. There are 2 identical twin brothers, and then there is an older sister, and they move to their old great aunt's abandoned house. Like, she's now in a insane asylum because she tried to commit suicide. People think they get to move into her house. When they get there, they discover that there was an old, mysterious field guide. It is a dossier to the fairy world where there is creatures that they've never known, and they start reading it and they figure out that there is like hobgoblins and house brownies, and they just figure out that there's these magical creatures around them, and they learn about them. And in the first book barely even touches on the story. Like, they just barely find the journal and read it by the time this first book ends, so it was really short. And I think there's like 5 other ones, so it's only like a 5th of the story. So I'm definitely going to read the other ones and finishing up the story and reliving a childhood story magnified by 10. Next up, I read Summerkin by Sarah Prizias. I can't say his name, so I'm just going to show it to you guys. There. This is second book inside of her Winterling series, which is a middle grade series, and I think this is one of those middle grade series that is really just meant for younger kids. I think there's a lot out there that older people can enjoy, but this I don't think is one of them. I'm kind of on it. I give this book a 2.53 star, but mostly 2.5. It's not that I necessarily hate it, it's just I have problems with it, and it's not as entertaining or magical as I think most middle grades can be. And so I'm just kind of, I will be continuing on and reading the last book in the series because I own it, but I don't much care for it. Since this is the second book, I just can't tell you much about it without spoiling the first one, so I'm just going to tell you what the first one's about. The first one is very akin to Narnia in the fact that it is about a girl that goes through a magical doorway into a fairy world that is ruled by an evil ice queen. The land is in winter, and it just reminded me a lot of Narnia, but just like, it's more like a cheap, faded copycat version of it. I'm trying to be vague because I don't want to give any spoilers on it. Not my cup of tea either. I do definitely think this is meant for the younger readers, and I would not recommend it for anyone over the recommended age. Next, I read Brother Grimm's Fairy Tale Collection. It's just a bunch of their fairy tales, and since there are so many of them, I cannot comment on all of them, but I think I gave this collection as a whole 4 stars out of 5. Some that I super loved, and then others that just kind of I wish I never read, didn't even know, kind of gave me a little bit of nightmares going on there because I would read this right before I went to bed, which is probably not what I'd recommend it. Because there are some in here that can be super creepy, because there is over 50 stories in here, so I can possibly name every single one, so just a few of my favorites. King Freshbeard I gave 5 stars. I really love that. I would give it 5+ stars because it's really that great. Then the White Snake, I gave it a 3.9 stars. I really like that one. The Barrowman Town Musicians, I gave that one a 4 star. I really like that one. 3 Spinning Fairies, I gave a 4.5 stars. That one was hilarious. The Frog Prince, I gave a 4 star, and that's just going to sum up all the ones that I like. There are a few in here that I gave some more 4 stars to, but I can't remember them right now. Last book I read in March actually isn't even mine. I am borrowing it from a friend, but it is The Pledge by Kimberly Darting. I give this book a 3.5 stars. I liked it. It was really good. It is YA dystopian. I know a lot of people are kind of over the dystopian craze, but I still like a lot of dystopians. It's kind of like dystopian, but they're kind of, I guess, magical elements to it a little bit. It is about a world where each class is separated by language. Like, if you are a vendor, then you know the serving class language, which everyone speaks. Then you know the vendor's language. If you are like a politician, then you would know the serving class, the vendor, and whatever else is up there, up to your rank, but you do not know above it. And if somebody is speaking a language that is above yours, you have to look down, and you cannot acknowledge that they are saying anything. If you even look up whenever they are speaking, you are accused of treason and are executed. And it is about a girl who can understand all the languages, and she has no idea why. And it's just about like her trying to keep that secret, and then eventually like a rebellion rises up, and it's about her, how she gets thrust into the rebellion kind of unwittingly, and how she fits into the rebellion and everything. And it's kind of hard and weird to explain without giving up spoilers, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. I really did like it, and I'm glad that I read it. Even though the cover is creepy and does not look dystopian, it looks more paranormal in my opinion than dystopian. So that is it for my February wrap up. Thanks for watching, and I will be seeing you guys later.